If you follow the recipe for this venison bacon, there's no way you'll buck it up. Venison bacon is a ground, formed, and smoked product versus a traditional bacon like pork belly. The reason it's ground is because venison is very lean and we're going to need to add some fat to increase flavor and to keep it from drying out. Our meat block is going to be about 50% venison and 50% pork butt. Venison is extremely lean. It's about 98 to 99% lean, so we need to add some pork butt to increase those fat levels and increase the flavor. Now that we're ready to grind, I have my grinder set up, and the grinding process is going to be very similar to making any other type of sausage. So to start, I have my 3/8 inch plate in here. Then for a second grind, we're going to go through a 3/16 for a finer grind. So that first coarse grind is done. And now all I have to do is switch out my plate to the 3/16 for our second grind. And there we go. We're ready to start seasoning and mixing our meat. For our venison bacon, we are going to be using our very own venison bacon seasoning, and that consists of maple cure and our venison bacon cure. This has the salts and sugars and the smokiness that we're going to want in our final product. We are not making a full 12.5 pound batch, which this is designed for, so I'm going to weigh these out, add in some water, and we'll get to mixing. All right, time to glove up and get in there and mix our meat. We've got our seasoning weighed out, and I've got some water ready too to add a little bit of moisture during the protein extraction process. So we're going to add this in, just kind of shake it over the top. And we're going to pour in about a half cup of water for our batch. So we're going to continue mixing for probably 4 to 6 minutes, kind of folding it over itself again and again. Mixing is doing two things. It's first of all mixing our seasoning into the meat block itself, but it's also starting that protein extraction process. And just keep doing this and you'll see as the meat gets sticky, that's when your protein extraction is really taking hold. And you want it to be tacky enough that it sticks to your hand when you hold it upside down. See that tackiness? Another minute or two and we're going to be right where we need to be. It's sticky, it's tacky, so the protein extraction is well underway. So you can see the meat has kind of changed color. The fat is still a little separate, but the protein extraction has taken hold. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put this into formed pans, set it in the fridge to cure overnight. I have an aluminum pan here and we're going to start filling it with our meat block. I'm going to start filling from the center and push it out because we're going to want to avoid as many air pockets as possible. Start here, start pushing down. So I'm just pushing this to even it out in the tray, trying to make sure it's nice and level. Once we've got it molded in there, we're going to top this with some saran wrap just to keep as much air out of there as possible. And then we're going to set this in the fridge again overnight so that the cure can do its work on the meat. And then tomorrow, we'll be ready to throw this in the smoker. Going to be eating venison bacon in no time. Throw this in the fridge and we'll smoke tomorrow. First, before we go into the smoker, we're going to add some topical seasoning. Today we're going to go with our bacon bomb. On top of the cures that we already have in here, we're looking to add some spice and some natural hickory smoke flavors to the bacon, which is really going to play well for our final product, and there's no better than bacon bomb to do that. So I'm going to take off the plastic here. I'm going to use the bacon bomb to season. We're going to flip this out, and then I'm going to season the other side as well before we go into the smoker. And this should peel right off, nice and easy. And we've got a nice flat surface because we packed that down well. Sprinkle on some bacon bomb. Look at those beautiful seasoning shots, Christian. You getting this? So now I'm going to take this rack, and we're going to flip this out. And hopefully this aluminum comes off relatively easily. But if not, that's the beauty of these pans is you can rip them and kind of peel it back like that. And voila. So here again, we have a nice flat surface because of the pan. We're gonna add some seasoning here. And once we're done, we're gonna go straight to the smoker. And to be clear, our venison bacon cure and seasoning is plenty of flavor. We just wanted to do something a little different with this application. We're gonna be smoking our venison bacon on a smoke schedule starting at 135 degrees. So outside I have our PK 100 set to 135, nice and preheated for us. So I dampened the sawdust and I put that on the burner. Then we smoked at 130 degrees for an hour and increased the temperature every hour after that by 10 degrees. Until we reached 180 degrees, and then we just let the bacon cook until the bacon reached an internal temperature of 155 degrees. And here we have our finished venison bacon. I had this in the fridge to cool down overnight. After the smoke process, once we hit 155 degrees internal temperature, we let it sit out at room temperature just to kind of rest and come down in temperature naturally a little bit before we shocked it in the fridge. One of the reasons we did that is it just kind of allows the juices to reform and so that you don't lose them and so they don't bleed out in the process of cooling down. All there is to do now is slice some of this up, fry it, and give it a try. There's very little air pockets. The meat is nice and dense, which is actually what we want. You can smell the smoke. There's just a little hint of sweetness coming through too, so I'm really excited to get this on the flat top and try some. This fried up really nice. We got some crispy edges here, some nice brown coloration in the center. So I'm gonna try this and we'll see how it is. It was really good. Now the texture is a lot different from a standard bacon, which is a whole muscle pork belly that we're used to. This is a ground and form product, but it held together really nicely and the flavors are great. It's got a good amount of saltiness, a little bit of sweet, and that topical bacon bomb that we put on right before we went into the smoker, it adds just the teeniest little bit of kick, which is really nice in the back end. Now this final product I would use in any way that you would use normal bacon. You can make some BLTs, fry it up and serve it with some eggs and toast in the morning. I'm probably gonna throw it on a few burgers later this afternoon. It's really well rounded. It's gonna act just like bacon for you, and I'm really happy with the way this final product turned out. For our venison bacon seasoning and our bacon bomb seasoning, and this recipe and many others, head to psseasoning.com. And until next time, I'm Chef Jed. Thanks for watching.